Anyways, I was recently down in San Diego and not only taking care of some business, but I was hanging out with some family friends, which was really exciting. Saying that I'm not sure if it's saying that I'm live anymore. Okay. Um, I'm kind of recovering from a little bit of illness from their children, but it's definitely worth, getting to go and hang out with kids. So, anyways, one of the nights that we were playing, I'm just gonna kind of ramble on because I'm starting really early today because I haven't been live for a while. So, um, they have two little boys, and they wanted to like play camping in this fitted bed sheet, and so that's what we were doing. And they had this little pink like plastic bug of some sort. I'm not really sure what it was, but they were like putting it on me like, oh no, it's a bug. Like I was kind of being a little bit loud, I guess, but I didn't think that I was being too loud. And all of a sudden, their dad is like laying on the couch behind us, and he like jumps out of dead sleep. He's like, "What's wrong?" Like I'm like, "Okay, we're just playing." I didn't mean to startle you. It's really funny. Uh, but yeah, I was also kind of like wrapping them up in these blankets and playing like Rockabye Baby and rocking them like this. And I had the youngest one in my arms, and I guess I was sitting too close to the edge of the couch. I didn't realize I like was doing this, and the next thing I know, I'm flying off the couch, and I whacked my head so hard off of their tile floor. Thankfully, the child didn't get hurt at all. Like I made sure that he was like on top of me, and I took the brunt of the fall. But I had like I kind of still have a bump on my head, but I had a pretty nice knot on the back of my head from like just flicking myself off the couches. I definitely go pretty hard when it comes to the children. I just love kids. Hi, Kyle. How's it going? I'm glad that you could make it. Nice to be here with you guys again. Um, I'm at Ellie's, and unfortunately, they don't have my favorite tea anymore. So I'm pretty bummed about that. I'm drinking some really bitter, like English. I think it's at an English tea time. There's an English breakfast time tea and an English tea time. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but this is like really, really bitter. So I'm kind of not even drinking it. I have to bring my own um, tea bags from now on when I come here. Ironically, to the place that introduced me to my favorite kind of tea bag, my new favorite type of tea. Kyle says he is on lunch for another 7 minutes. Well, thank you for joining me on your lunch break. I appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, Kyle came out to Mount Shasta this summer twice. Once for a full moon celebration, and then also again for my birthday and his birthday. We are both Virgos. Sage was here for a couple of months. He came for the first full moon celebration and then stayed until the beginning ish of this month, just a few days ago. So yeah, winter is definitely upon us, and most people that come here for the summer definitely take off for the winter because it is really cold. Um, yeah, I'm sitting here going in this restaurant just they haven't cranked the heat yet, and the tea isn't good, so I can't really warm myself up with it. So anyways, hopefully you guys are doing well and staying warm and getting prepared for the winter for whatever the powers that be have in store for you and me. I definitely expect them to put out more, more viruses and more diseases to try to kill us off. In the golden age, it's going to be really interesting to see how many of our daily issues in general have been caused by these, demonic forces. But in the golden age, where there aren't genetic engineers making viruses, there aren't psychopaths running this world. Flu season isn't going to be a thing. Flu season isn't a natural occurrence. Cold, you know, your body isn't detoxing like they've been trying to teach people. Like, they send out these viruses every year to give this illusion of a flu cold season, to get people sick, to keep all the old folks coming back for their annual flu jabs. Like I was in a store the other day and it was saying that. you can get 10% off of your groceries for every immunization that you get at their store. It's like, wow, talk about bribery. Like 10%. If you're getting 10% off your groceries to get a shot, like you should definitely be asking questions. They're not doing this for our health. They are not doing any of this for us at all, except to control us, to depopulate, to control, manipulate, and turn us into clowns. Kyle says it just started snowing in Michigan yesterday and today. Wow. It actually started snowing here before I went to San Diego, so we beat you to it. But how far north are you in Michigan? I don't remember exactly where you are. I lived in Grand Haven for a while and did some business with some people in Kalamazoo area, I believe. The lower half. Okay, so you're down by. I'm originally from Ohio, as most people already know, so I have been around the area. Hi, Greg. How are you? Greg says you sure are gorgeous. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that, even though I'm all huddled here. Kyle says I am an hour away from KZ. That's funny. That's a cute little nickname for it. Yeah, it gets really cold there. And Grand Haven is right on the I don't really remember what lake it is. I don't really care, to be honest. One of the lakes, and so obviously during the winter it got really cold, but during summer all of the people, the tourists would flood in, and Grand Haven also had the Coast Guard USA festival that happened. I think it was maybe 2 weeks in the summer. I'm not really sure, but I worked at a restaurant. I got really, really busy, and yeah. Anyways, I plan to talk a little bit more about myself in this video as well and answer any questions that you guys have. So go ahead and ask those in the live chat if you want. But anyways, probably one of my favorite parts in San Diego when I was leaving, the little 4-year-old of my family friends came up to me and hugged me. He's just like, Tia Snow, I love you. I was like, oh, I love you too. It made me so happy. I just really love kids. I was afraid that they weren't going to remember me because it's been like, I don't think I've seen them since before COVID. So it's like, there's very big time gaps in between the time that I have seen them and, they're little kids. So I don't really expect them to remember me, although I am pretty, distinct with my eyeliner. Like, I don't think that they have anybody in their world, that wears eyeliner. So they might remember me that way, but now for sure they do remember me as the fun aunt. So that's all I'm pretty happy about that. I love to win children over. It's just, if there's like a room and there's like a group of adults and a group of children, I'm gonna like try to go over there and play with them, because like the innocence that comes with children, just like they're like, everything that they do pretty much is just so cute, and I just love it. And with the adults, it's like they say and do things that just are corrupt and off-putting. It's just like, I just really love kids. So I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but anyways, so some of the things that I wanted to talk about just before I get into more deep topics. The Simul with FM Stephen Breckenridge is still going on in the group, chess, games, tournaments, and more. So I would definitely encourage you to check it out. The only game that is left still playing is the game against David D, and David is playing my opening, so that is definitely super exciting for me to see. It'll be really, really fun to see how the game progresses and what happens. So yeah, definitely check that out. And if you are interested in playing in the knockout tournament that I have planned for after the Simul, definitely let me know so that I can add you to the list. Most of you already know that I have a over-the-board chess tournament coming up in Portland on December 12th. That is a Monday night. Hi, Akshar. How's it going? It definitely has been a while. Like I was saying, I've had a lot of things come up and trying to recover from this illness. It's mainly just like a sinus thing. I haven't actually felt ill at all. It didn't knock me out. Thankfully, my immune system is pretty good, but I also have a lot of curse energy. So thank you to all my haters who are constantly trying to cause problems in my life. And I'm being sarcastic. I don't really mean thank you. Greg says, I enjoy your chats. You're very smart as well as pretty. Maybe have coffee or a beer sometimes. Well, Greg, I don't drink beer. I drink champagne. But I am mainly willing to have tea. Well, I was going to say I would have tea here at Ellie's with anybody, but they don't have my favorite tea here anymore. So it is a nice place to hang out. And I am willing to meet up with people to have tea or coffee or whatever, but just as friends. So everybody knows where I stand on that. Portland, December 12th, Monday, December 12th at 6 p.m. It'll be at the Lucky Lab. I'm pretty excited about going to travel up there and meeting some new people, although I've had some pretty interesting conversations with people that I've tried to connect with from Portland. I've tried to go, on like Portland Chess Club Facebook group and add people, and some of these people are like, we should get a hotel room. And you come up here, I'm like, dude, I literally have never even met you. We've never even had a conversation. Like, I don't know you at all. Is that really how you open up with girls? Like, I don't know. Not my type of thing. I'm definitely not going to be hooking up with anybody or staying in anybody's hotel room or any of that. I'm going up there to host the chess tournament, and the reason that I'm hosting the chess tournament is the reason that I'm doing the full moon celebrations on Mount Shasta. Everything that I do ultimately comes back to the golden age, and I want to talk about that after I get through these other topics, because that's like the main bulk of what I want to talk about today. I've had some more questions about what the golden age is, and I want to contrast the golden age and the new world order, and talk a little bit more about that. So Portland, December 12th. If you're in the area, you should definitely come and meet me in real life. That'd be fun. I'd also wanted to be careful and not unplug my computer. Just leave you the link of this chess group, Chess News, Memes, and Humor. We recently got over 3,000 people, and the cool thing about this group is that it is not just about chess. I would love to see more truthers join this group. Hi Faith, how's it going? Faith says, hey Queen, I missed your live. I hope you are well. I really, really miss going live with you guys as well, and I am doing pretty good, trying to stay warm as we go into these winter months. Winter hasn't even officially started yet. Definitely excited that I got a new heater and planning to stay warm this winter. Hopefully they don't cut the power. If you guys don't have generators and stuff like that, I would really encourage you to do that. I encourage you to prepare for famine as well, because I went to like 3 or 4 different stores the other day to try to find cauliflower and couldn't find cauliflower. I mean, I know we're getting into the winter months and stuff, but it's like famine is definitely coming. Expect them to put out more diseases, more shutdowns, more everything that they've already done in the past, as they, march towards their ultimate goal, the New World Order. Akshar says, during the winter, are Californians going to use electric or gasoline fires? That's funny. Well, I have an electric heater, but yeah, they're definitely trying to cause issues with the power supply. And I was reading before about coal shortages and how easy it is for them to just shut down the entire, specifically U.S. power grid to just, as easy as flipping a switch and just cause complete chaos. Strawman says hello from UK. Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining. If you have any questions, anybody, just feel free to ask them in the chat, and I will get to the chat as we go. Yeah, gasoline is expensive though. Again, $6. No, I really can't see that. Between the glare on the screen and the distance, it's kind of hard to see what the price of gas is, but it's really expensive. Kyle says to Akshar that they will use DEW fires, direct energy weapon fires. Hopefully not. Hopefully they are done with fires for the year. This is the second year that I have been in evacuation zones from fires. The first one was a wildfire, the lava fire. And more recently this year, they had the mill fire, which was caused by the weed lumber mill, timber mill, whatever. I don't really know exactly whatever it's called. But the mill, one of the parts of the mill caught on fire, and it actually devastated a whole neighborhood, like just a whole big area. If you haven't seen my videos on that, you can definitely check out the damage that I posted and the updates from that. Hi, Neil. How's it going? Hopefully you are doing well. Thanks for joining. So anyways, back to this chess group. Please join the chess group. There are, not just chess posts, but we talk about flat earth. We talk about, veganism. We talk about the inverts running our world. It's not just in Hollywood. It's not just politics. It is all of the top positions of power and influence, and even positions in lower town. It's not just A-list celebrities, it's even B and C-list celebrities. If you go flip on a Hallmark movie, it's like C-list celebrities that are really, really obvious inverts. Like, it's really bad. Hi Sage, how's it going? I was just talking about how you were here this summer for a few months and left. It is getting colder here. Neil says he is doing well. Thank you, Queen. Glad to hear that. How's the weather over there, Neil, where you are? So anyways, yeah, join that chess group and join in the fun of waking people up. It's unfortunate that the truther community is like, the majority of the truther community is inverts, and it's quite discouraging because you can't really wake any more of them up, and you really can't wake them up well, I guess they've been lied to in their lives as well. So there are things that they don't know, like Satan only tells them what they need to know. They don't get filled in on everything just because they're on Team Satan, just because, the Rothschilds are sold out to Satan. It's like they don't know everything that he knows. Like, he tells them what they need to know on an individual basis, So there are things that they do need to be woken up about, but they already know that the inverts run our world. A lot of them are the first ones to wake up to the truth of our reality, the first ones to go vegan. Like, the majority of inverts are vegan at this point because, well, for multiple reasons, they're connected. But they're trying to invert the situation again to where humans are the ones that are still eating innocent, and they are the ones that are being innocent. They're the ones that are being vegan. They're not doing adrenochrome anymore. They're not eating human babies anymore. Like, they're vegan, right? So now they can go to the spiritual world and say, look at how bad humans are. We should depopulate them, right? Like, they're always trying to make excuses for humans to not be here, for God to be embarrassed about his creation, so that ultimately they, can move on from humans. Like, Satan's ultimate dream essentially is a world without the humans, to return to a Jinn paradise, of flames, before humans existed. That is what they referred to as Nibiru or whatever you want to call, however you say. They talk about this supposed planet returning. Well, it's just a cover up for this paradise that existed before humans, and they're trying to manifest it. And the worse that they can make humans, the more that they can make us an embarrassment to our creator, the more likely he is to just say, I'm done with humans, let's move on, either making new species, or going back to something that has been before, like the Shin. Emerson Stein says, "Hey, Inanna, hope you've been well. What are your thoughts on David Icke? He's got a new interview on London Real." I'm not sure what London Real is. David Icke, though, however, is a controlled opposition female deceiver. I don't follow any of these big name truthers. They set up a whole network of inverts to control anyone who is into conspiracies, from David Icke to Alex Jones to what's the one that's Julian Assange, I'm not really sure what their name is. I don't even, Assange, or like I'm saying, I don't even know what their name is because I don't pay attention to these clowns. They're all set up to gatekeep. They're set up to make us think that we have heroes, like, oh, if Alex Jones is on the front line, then we don't have to do anything. The good fight's being fought, and we have a leader in the front ranks. Same thing with the Q psyop with all of these supposed white hats, right? They want us to think that some of these inverts have faked their own deaths and gone behind the scenes to work as white hats to free us from the chains of slavery that their own family has helped to put us under, right? Like, I can't blame the powers that be for enslaving humanity because, you have to take a step back and understand the bigger picture and see what their justification is. And their justification is that humans enslave every other species. So why shouldn't we be enslaved, especially by predators that are obligate carnivores that find humans really tasty, right? The humans that eat animals say, oh, it's the circle of life. Okay, well then don't cry to me when you get eaten by an actual carnivore, by an actual predator, because it's the circle of life. Furthermore, it is not the circle of life for you because you go to a grocery store, you go and pick prepackaged, chopped up body parts of these little babies to eat. Like, you are not a predator. You're not all that in a bag of chips. Like, you are a pansy, a heartless, morally bankrupt clown that's feeding on the flesh of the innocent to feel strong. Like, that means that you're weak without it. You're a weakling. You're pitiful. Anyways. I'll get back onto more veganism stuff later, so let's just move on. Neil says, I'm not sure about David. I get a weird feeling about them. Yes, you should definitely trust your intuition about that, because they are put in place to keep people asleep. Akshar says, Kyle, we can build rock-plated armor to defend against them. Okay, Akshar, but how are we going to get that? Where are the resources for all of this? Starman says, Icke was outed as a pedo by many boys who were in care. I would have to look at the individual claims, because there are a lot of rape claims and pedo claims with these inverts, and that's not to say that they're not true. Either an MTF, a male to female, or an FTM can be a pedophile. It's not that they can't be, but like rape allegations with an FTM. It's like they don't have a penis to rape anybody with. So you have to like look at the situation and look at who they're claiming that they raped. Like if they say like an FTM raped an MTF, it's like a female raped a male. Like this is all just part of Hollywood show, like a big production put on to control, manipulate, to program, whatever. Lots of corrupt. Corrupt is definitely their goal. Actor says, and on a surprise, you haven't heard of London Real. Heard the host is what? CIA. Let me look at what this is. Transform Yourself. A media firm renders inspiring podcasts and videos along with the tools, knowledge, and support individuals to transform. Oh, I just feel so touched and moved to listen to this by that. I'm just messing with you guys. I'm just trying to click a little bit more to see what we're talking about here. Subscribe for free. Okay. Yeah, I really don't. I've never heard of this before. Taoist Secrets of Love. The dual cultivation of a spiritual sex and sexual magic. You see, that sounds interesting to me. Let's see that for later. It's really sad how they have not only demonized sex, but have really separated sex from the spiritual, emotional, deep connection that it forms, that it's meant to be. Adamantium. What are you saying here? Okay. Anyways, one of the books I actually had with me when God had a wife. Nice little picture of the sculpture of Inanna in the background there. It's really beautiful. But a lot of these Essene texts and stuff talk about the divine consort and how these ancient gods, it was a male and a female, a god and a goddess. They were always paired together. And then the Hebrews, the Israelites, whatever you want to call them, went into slavery in Egypt. And then monotheism was forced upon them. The goddess was demonized and, separated from it. And the Essene text, I really love the Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 1, and how it talks about essentially how we can be in this trinity with our Heavenly Father and our earthly mother, and the bond that comes with the relationship with those two. And you can think of like the implications of children growing up without their mothers. It's like the same thing. The same kind of correlation can be made of us, only growing up knowing our Heavenly Father and not our earthly mother, not having that balance between the two. And it's really sad that has been lost and demonized, and sexuality along with it. Love and fertility being demonized as a bad thing. Like, no. Like, we can all, well, I can't speak for you, but I agree that sleeping around and having careless sex with people, just making these meaningless hookups, right? That is an abusive use of sex. I do agree that is bad, but sex in general, when it is used in the way that God intended for us to use, to form this bond between a male and a female, and ultimately create a baby, right? Like, that's beautiful. There's not anything to be demonizing about that. Okay. Kyle says, pretty sure that dews melt rock. Akshar says the rocks are found everywhere. It's actually stronger than iron, which doesn't do well under heat, unlike hard rock or stone. Okay, but how are we gonna are we gonna build plated armor? Are you are you into building armor yourself? Because that's not up my alley. Is that what they say? I don't know. Sage says, Akshar, show me around in India. Ooh, are you planning on going to India? That'd be a pretty fun vacation. Do you even Sage says, bless you, Queen. Thank you, and bless you as well. Emerson Stein says, does that mean you agree with Donald Marshall about the cloning centers and reptilians? I am not 100% sure what Donald Marshall says about these things because Donald Marshall, well, I don't listen to Donald Marshall. They are another inverted gatekeeping shill. These people that are like, victims of MK Ultra abuse, escaped from deep underground cloning centers. It's like if these people weren't meant to be in front of you speaking, they wouldn't be speaking. Like we live in a completely controlled reality. So these ones that claim that they have special knowledge, like I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm saying like if they were legitimately in that situation and now they're putting out YouTube videos, like what is that one that's the winner of America's Got Talent or Australia Got Talent or something, and people were trying to say I don't know who their name is. Australia's Got Talent. We're like, oh yeah, they're telling us that Satan runs our world. It's like they're just a gatekeeper. Like they're all put in place to do these things, to be our heroes, and they wouldn't be speaking to you if they weren't allowed to speak to you. So I really have a problem, with any of these, whistleblower type people. Even though they do mix truth with lies, you have to be really careful with them. That being said, I do believe that they use cloning. I believe that clones, like your DNA, is a code, right? And that specific code is specific to your soul. So if I take a part of me, a part of my my DNA, and clone it, the soul that was in this piece of skin goes with that piece of skin to go into whatever's being cloned, right? So it's one of the ways that these powers that be can kind of like stay immortal in this world is to keep cloning themselves and coming back as babies. A lot of people have this unrealistic idea about what cloning is like. I don't know if you've seen, I don't know if it might be the Santa Claus 3 movie with Tim Allen. I think it's the third one, but he like is a grown adult and steps into this machine and kind of like scans him, and then another grown adult pops out. Like that's not how cloning works. They do it as babies, and like I was saying, it's kind of one way that they try to stay immortal in this world by doing that. As far as reptilians go, I believe that there are hybrids. That being said, like the original event that happened to create these hybrids is talked about in Genesis and the Book of Enoch, where these fallen angels, which is a misnomer for the jinn, this species of smokeless fire, they can shapeshift. Well, not all of them necessarily. The most gifted of them that can shapeshift, and they shapeshift into human male form, and they came into the daughters of men. They came into the human females, impregnated them, and these giants came about from that. But not just them being giants, being larger in size, but they also had, different characteristics that humans weren't made with, more predatory type mindset and features. And that's where the, reptilian hybrid type things come in from. It's not just reptiles that have been hybridized with humans, but Nakash snakes, which are the actual predators. and other species since humans have been created. Uh, so yeah, I think there's a lot of misinformation about reptilians and what people think that they are to kind of make conspiracy theorists, conspiracy truthers, whatever you want to call us, um, look super crazy. When the truth is a lot more, you know, someone would probably a lot better understand human genetics, being mixed with these species, not like an actual walking lizard, like a lot of them picture because of what they have seen in different, you know, different sources, and that's one of the problems with all these psyops are put out to make us look crazy, to make us believe things that are not true, like concave Earth and um, viruses aren't real, like all of these things, so that truthers end up, instead of being the smartest of the humans, end up being the dumbest of the humans, right? Another inversion. And hopefully you're not on board with that. Hopefully you're resisting and questioning all of the psyops, right? They have um, extremely well thought out deceptions that they are trying to put out specifically for us to target truthers. And yeah, we have to be really careful. I personally don't follow anybody. I if I can't transvestigate somebody, like that's the first step that we need to take. Um, Yeah. And if you learn how to transvestigate people and use that as like your baseline acceptance for even, you can listen to somebody, but it's like if you know that they're an invert, you need to make sure that you listen to them knowing that they are at the very least only going to, give you up to a certain amount of truth because that's all that they can give you, right? They're not going to, tell you the complete truth of your reality because they can't. They're deceivers. They're contracted to corrupt and deceive humanity. So they can't do it. What's happening? Give me a second to fix this. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate this and love hanging out with you guys. I really missed getting to do this through the past few weeks that I have been missing in action. Thanks to everybody who reached out to me and asked if I was okay. Yeah, I'm doing good and getting ready for winter. Okay. Dr. Fustercluck is here and says at Akshar, did you follow Judy Wood? Not sure who that is, so we'll see what that conversation says. Hi, Bob. How are you? Bob says Brian Rose is London Real and a protege of Dan Pena, who rocks. Okay. I do not know any of those people. Akshar says, sure, Sage, I'm headed to go explore some hot springs here soon. Ooh, that sounds really, really nice. I would love to go to some hot springs. Bob says, the collapse of the FTX cryptocurrency exchange last week is a monumental scandal and the beginning of the end of our monetary system. Brace yourself for contagions across all markets this week. Owners of gold, silver, and the Ripple XRP currency will rule. Yes, I am a big promoter of having real gold, real silver, stuff that can't actually be taken from you. Cryptocurrency is great, but at the same time, you always have to make sure that you keep in mind that with cryptocurrency, they can just, hit a button and it's gone. If they turn the power off, they can easily take it from you. So while cryptocurrency is pretty cool, I am not really a promoter of it, especially because the people that ultimately control, like anything that gets big in our world, even if they say it's independent, it's not independent. Like anything, these big things, they're ultimately all controlled, and the powers that be want this cashless system. They want a system where, if you post something that they don't like, oh, well, maybe that's a $500 deduction. Maybe it's even more. Maybe you don't get to eat for a month. Like, I don't know what kind of extremes that they're going to try to take it to, but like, I don't trust them at all with anything at all. Like, it's just me. So, yeah. Anyway. Okay, Akshar says at Dr. Fustercluck. No, I found it on Israel Diego Rivera's channel. I'm not sure who that is. Oh, yeah, I'm interested in building a lot of tech, hopefully for the future. Good. It's going to be interesting to see the technology of the future. For me, the golden age is, implementing technology to the fullest extent so that humans can enjoy life and be free, and a machine can make you a sandwich. Like, there's no need for other people to be working and making you a sandwich, right? Kyle says Akshar, a fictional element to save us all. What are you talking about? Oh, adamantium. Okay. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Nerds. Okay. Jarapara says, hi, Anana. How's it going? Bob says, bet on the EBS and 10 days of darkness sooner than later, which may include an internet outage possibly this week. Oh, no, I hope not. Jarapara, am I the only one hearing weird background noises? You might be hearing like an espresso machine or something like that on my end because I am in a coffee shop. Akshar says it sounds like some power knowledge tripping Archons, don't they? It's funny. Sounds like you're on Event Horizon. I'm not sure what that means. Demetrius, how's it going? There are no aliens. Earth is flat. The most famous people are inverted. Hollywood is satanic, and the Jesus is the only way, truth, and the life. Well, I definitely agreed with you there for a while. Zane, how's it going? Follow information, not people. I agree. Kyle says, I think you should just get a chai tea with coconut milk. I'm not really the biggest fan of chai tea, to be honest. I really like green tea. I prefer green tea, and I'm kind of craving some vegan hot chocolate. I think I might make some when I go home with oat milk. Would be really, really yummy. Emerson Stein says, that all makes sense, thanks. What do you recommend for learning more about the Jinn? That is a good question. I usually try to, get my information through prayer and meditation channeling. So I don't exactly have any source to point you to on that. Yeah. All of the stuff that I've learned has kind of been piling up over the years and different sources and stuff. It's interesting. Sage says, I've been enjoying apple cider lately. That sounds really good. Anything warm sounds really good, actually, kind of right now. I'm chilly. Anyways. I'm not really sure how much information about the Jinn even exists in Islamic culture because I have not looked, but I'm sure that they have different books and lore about them. I am sure that what I preach differs in some way to what they preach. I don't really follow any specific outset religion. I don't believe any of them are uncorrupted. But I do ultimately, preach that there is a God, there is a goddess, this balance between the masculine and feminine divine, that we are souls, that our souls are going to be accountable for our actions, when we die. And I think that's kind of like the main thing that is important to know. You are a soul, and what you do does matter. They try to tell you that you are a piece of evolved pond scum living on a giant spinning ball that's meaningless. There is no afterlife, there's no God, there's all of these lies, lie after lie after lie, and then we end up with the world that we have today, right? Full of darkness and corruption and degeneracy, and not safe for a baby, not at all. All right, let me see. Jarapar says, I'm drinking a structured water. I'm not sure if I want to ask what structured water is. One of the things that I wanted to mention, that there is a difference, most people will be like, duh, between fruit, sugar, fructose, these naturally sweetened things, and processed sugar. Like I said, most of you will be like, duh, that's obvious. But some people try to lump them together. Your body reacts completely differently from these two different types of sugars. One is meant for us. Your body craving naturally sweet things. Like, we're meant to be eating raw herb and fruit bearing seed. We're meant to live in this Garden of Eden paradise with fruit all around us, and rather than slaughterhouses and death. And what is water in its purest form? Like, if I go to a stream where water is coming out of the earth, wouldn't that be its purest form? Like, how is that different than structured water? I'm not really sure. Look into it. Very good for you. I have a underground well type aqueduct thing that gives me Mount Shasta water. So structured water, that is what I drink. Molecular arrangement of water molecules that exist when water is near hydrophilic surfaces. I'll have to look into it. The formula for structured water is said to be H3O2. Okay, I've heard about H3O2 before, which doesn't make any sense if you are thinking about chemistry. H2O is a balanced, molecular combination, and H3O2 isn't. I remember, like, in 9th grade or something in chemistry class, we had these little, little balls that, like, O was this blue ball, and it had 2 holes, so you could put the 2 hydrogen ones with it and actually see the molecule, like, what it looks like. H3O2 doesn't make any sense. Like, the 3rd hydrogen, like, what is that binding to? It doesn't actually make any sense. So, I mean, I'll look into it, but right off the bat, H3O2 doesn't make sense in the chemistry point of view. But there are some truthers that argue that, atoms and chemistry is, out there. I don't really question that stuff yet, but I, am open to whatever truth there is. And I know that we have been lied to pretty much about everything from the beginning. So being lied to about atoms and all these other things really wouldn't surprise me. Okay. So what I was trying to say is processed sugar and fruit sugar, totally different things. Even some people that are, doing keto have found that they can eat apples and it doesn't knock them. It obviously depends on how much you eat, but they can eat apples and other sweet fruits and not be knocked out of ketosis. I definitely encourage people to look into vegan ketosis, not the opposite. Some people go full out carnivore ketosis and just survive off of the flesh of the innocent and cow's tit secretions, and it's like, you really think that you are healthy? Like, you are just pouring on the black magic, and that is why you are feeling temporary health or rejuvenation or whatever. It's because you are constantly performing a black magic ritual where you're getting that life force energy from an innocent being that was slaughtered. make the connection, like go and eat an apple instead. Apples are full of life force energy that is designed by our creator so that nothing has to get hurt. There's no animal getting sliced and diced when you go to a tree and you pick an apple and you eat it. Kyle says that spring water is the purest. Something like that. Extra says that they're in a trance. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Animal eaters being in a trance, and there are demonic influences that they have been binding themselves to their whole lives. So it's understandable that there is pushback when people are met with the vegan message. But at the end of the day, humans aren't going to be free unless they extend that freedom to other species. And I think that we should all be able to agree that that is fair. If somebody is enslaving others, it's only fair that they are enslaved, right? I mean, even a child could see the fairness in that. And humans have done so much worse, like compared to what we're experiencing now. What humans have done to the animals and for how long humans have been doing it to animals, it's like we definitely have a lot of karma that is owed to us in the negative direction. A lot of people want to blame Satan and his minions for the state that humans are in, but it's like, look at your own actions, look at the actions of your own species, and understand, like I'm saying, like what actually is done to us is, in comparison to what we've done to the animals, is so disproportionate, whatever the word you want to say is. Just one industry, like the egg industry, and all of these videos of little baby chicks getting crushed up, like I can't even put words to it because it's so disheartening. And then to have humans like resist and fight back against it, and it's like, you non-vegans are killing us as a species. Like, if only half of humans would go vegan, we could have a golden age. But the non-vegans are keeping us enslaved. They are keeping us on the path to the New World Order. Just made a Facebook post yesterday that says the same thing. Non-vegans are enslaving vegans. You are killing us. The New World Order is being fueled by humans who enslave, abuse, and eat the babies of other species. This world can only be a heaven or a hell, and our actions determine it. If you want to continue to live in a hell on earth, just continue to slice and dice animals for your meals, making this world a hell for them. If you want to live in a heaven on earth, let the animals be free and eat as our Creator intended, raw herb and fruit bearing seed. I posted it with this picture that I put together of a baby cow that was forcibly separated from its mother at birth and then murdered, cut up, and eaten. That's the horrors, of your actions if you are not a vegan. So let's continue on my list here. Jarapar says that we have. Oh wait, here we go. Emerson says, doesn't matter which apples. Dr. Sebi taught to avoid Red Delicious or Granny Smith and only eat small red ones. That is interesting. Something that I have not heard of. I like Granny Smith apples. I really like Pink Lady and really sweet apples. So that's a sad thing if they're not really good for us. But Yeah, I really don't know. Jarapara says that Dr. Sebi was a fraud. I wouldn't. They've probably been posted into the Transvestigation Disclosure Now group. I wouldn't defend anybody that's famous. We have inverts that are promoting the carnivore diet. We have inverts that are promoting the raw vegan diet. Like, they promote every side of the argument so that any humans, will find a hero, find a voice that they can listen to, somebody that they can fall under the control of. So Jarapar says, we have so much fluoride in the water here, I won't touch it. My water personally is coming from an underground source, so it's not treated, but I definitely understand not wanting to touch the fluoridated water. That's how it is, like, especially in the bigger cities. When I went down to San Diego, the water was horrible. Even when I get like a shower down there, it really messes with my hair. Like, I just really can't stand the water. Extra says, in general, the negative direction. Yes, as far as karma goes, we have a lot of bad karma that is owed to us as a human species, and this whole depopulation agenda, the whole culling that is happening right now, is all part of that. Like, they can point to our actions as what we have done to all of these animals and say that what they're doing to us is karma for that. Like, we've done so much evil that we deserve it. Like, I personally can't argue against that. I really can't. Like, I try to see things from not a limited human perspective. I try to judge things righteously, and if I'm not judging as from a human perspective, and I'm just like, well, humans have done all of this evil, we enslave all of these other species, how can we not deserve being enslaved ourselves? Like, can't argue against it. Sage says, I like water so much that I literally bathe in it. That's funny. Abdullah A says, how are you? I am doing well. How are you doing? Satan says that most people I know don't blame Satan. They blame God because they lack the understanding of how their own decisions affect them. Yes. That's a good point. They do blame God. They blame God when things are good. They blame God when things are bad. And yeah, they don't take into consideration their own decisions. But how many of these religions, mainstream Christianity, it's kind of like it doesn't really particularly matter what evil you do because you can just ask God for forgiveness. Like, you could be a serial killer your whole life, and then on your deathbed you can just say, Jesus, I believe that your blood covered all my sins and that you died for me and that I'm going to go to heaven and blah blah blah, and you're good to go, right? Like, not teaching accountability for one's actions, like the way that I personally believe. I believe that we're all going to be accountable for our actions. So I myself, as a soul, am going to have to stand in front of my creator to justify my deeds. There's no other soul in between. There's nobody dying as a sacrifice for me. There's nobody paying the price for me. Like, that's just not how any of it works. Especially with the newer texts that I have gotten into. I think I talked about it in the immortality of the soul video that I did, about how, when, like, if I was sitting here eating the flesh of the innocent, eating a cheeseburger, like, it's a demonic activity. There are demons that, not like when the burger, well, it's all demonic, from the start. So, like, when the animals are in their cages suffering, the demons are there. When the animals are all scared on their way to get slaughtered, the demons are there. When they're getting chopped up into little pieces, the demons are there. When those little pieces are getting thrown onto the grill and that smell is permeating, like, the demons are coming in, and like, they like that smell. When you sit down and eat it, the demons are there, right? You're forming this relationship with these entities and forming bonds with them. And like I've said before, when you die, if you're still bonded to those demons, you're gonna have to, if you want to go to heaven, you're gonna have to to separate from them, and there's a purification fire that happens. So these other texts talk not about, God being this marking all of your sins and being this like really evil judge. It's like you did these actions and you put yourself in a situation where you have to go through the fire to undo what you did. God can't just wave a magic wand. I mean, I don't, he probably could do it, but it's just not how he does it, right? Like, he doesn't supersede our free will. He lets us, if we want to go and sit and dine at the table with demons and bind ourselves with demons, he usually doesn't stop us, right? Like, there's not divine intervention for these things. We might have a little, angel on this side constantly telling us to stop, but it's not like our hands stop working to be able to do this. So anyways, these texts say that, it's not God that's imposing this harsh judgment on us. It's just that we have to go through this fire because of the consequences of our own actions. And again, I can't argue against that. So Abdullah says, everyone share your thoughts about mooing. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Hopefully it's nothing bad. Hopefully it's rated G. Oh, okay. Technique in which the tongue is placed on the roof of the mouth in an effort to make the jaw bigger and more square. It also is supposed to help improve your posture, your jaw posture, and reshape your face. Is that all of it is for? Is it supposed to be for some other reason besides for enhancing your jawline? Because otherwise I can't see a purpose of. I have no desire to like enhance my jawline. Anyways. Abdullah says, everyone share your thoughts about modesty. That's really quite funny because my opinion on it has changed over the years. Some of you might know I was married like 5 or 6 years back, and when I first met my husband, I was like, I'm not gonna wear a 2-piece bathing suit. Like, I'm gonna be really covered up and all this stuff. And now I have posted nude pictures online. Like, my thoughts have definitely changed over the years. Obviously, if I had a daughter, I would not want her to do what I've done. But if I have a daughter, like, she's going to be coming into a world that's completely different than the one that we're in. And ultimately, the reason that I do everything that I do, the reason that I post a picture, the reason that I'm live here, the reason that I do my full moon events, the reason that I do everything that I'm doing here is to get to the golden age. And showing my own female flaring hips, for one, is important so that people know with this world that's run by inverts that I am not one of them. And I mean, that's really the main important difference for the majority of people. I'm the first real girl that they've even seen through a screen. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I'll proudly stand in front of God on Judgment Day to justify the things that I have done. And He knows the world that we're in and the unfortunate situation of how over-sexualized everything is, and how unfortunate it is that so many humans wouldn't even click on a video unless it has a pretty girl's face. Like, they would not have ever even heard about flat earth or veganism or any of this stuff. I mean, I wish, I don't want it to be this way. Like, I want my future son to be open to things that are not coming from pretty girls, like, but it's just the world that we're in, and I am doing what I can in the world that I'm in to create the world that I want. This world is what we created, and ultimately it can only be a heaven or a hell. Like, it can't be like, it's really no in between. I guess we have glimpses of heaven right now, but overall it's like suffering en masse. Like, that's pretty much the name of the game, and darkness and confusion and humans being crushed down constantly, and that's not heaven. So yeah, if you wonder why I do the things that I do, it's ultimately, it always comes back to the golden age. So just hear my own voice saying this in your head. It's like, why is she doing that? It's because she thinks that that's what she needs to do to get to the golden age. And whether you agree with it or not, personally, I don't particularly care, because I don't know that you know what I know. So yeah, if somebody doesn't agree with me, whatever. My eye is really itchy. Apples with peanut butter. That sounds really good, Kyle. Abdullah says, everyone share your thoughts about the juice going after Ye, Kyrie. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Kyrie Irving. What do you mean the juice? What's the juice? You mean a jab? Former Cleveland Cavalier has apologized after being called to do so. Like, I really don't know. I have no idea. I don't pay attention to any professional anything, because they're all inverts. They're all degenerate clowns, and I don't care about them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the juice is. Like, I don't know anything that's... Oh, the juice. Gotcha. Kanye West is just a controlled opposition puppet, like trying to be a hero. Same thing if Kyrie Irving's trying to stand against them too. Like, none of these inverts are your friends. None of them are heroes, no matter what they tell you. So, yeah. Extra says modesty is more like adequacy. What are you saying there? Than humility. Abdul says that God is blamed for bad, but the universe is credited for good most of the times. Also, Muslims don't believe that Jesus died for our sins. Yes, I agree with that. The Old Testament, even in the Bible, says multiple times that no one can die for the sins of another. Everyone that sins will be accountable for their own actions. You can't just go out and kill somebody and then say, oops, I did a bad thing, and then go and kill a chicken and then somehow you're forgiven. Like, that's stupid. Like, it doesn't make any logical sense. And that's actually what the Gospel of the Holy 12, so many things just align with the Old Testament scriptures that this is the gospel that I preach. No blood offering of beast or bird or man can take away sin. For how can the conscience be purged from sin by the shedding of innocent blood? Nay, it will increase the condemnation. So you go out and kill somebody, and then you go and kill a chicken. Like, now you're even more guilty than you were before. Like, if you make a mistake, what our Creator wants is for you to repent of that, to stop doing it in the future, and to do what you can to make up for it. Like, you can't necessarily make up for killing somebody, but you can do what you can to serve penance for that sin. Abdul says, you remind me of someone. Hopefully someone good. Big Pharma is going after Dr. Moo. I'm not sure who that is either. Demetrius says, everyone blames God, but they don't see the sins they commit every day. Yep. Abdul says, everyone share your thoughts about somebody that I don't know. Wrong button. A 22-year-old Iranian woman died in the hospital under suspicious circumstances. Yeah, I really don't know if it's in the mainstream news. I don't believe it. I think that 99% of what we see on the news is completely fake. A Hollywood production to control, to manipulate, to influence. And um, most often they're inverted receiver actors. So if you come across a story, just look and try to investigate the person, and then yeah, and you'll see it's fake because you know. Mr. JN says you was married once. Can you go into detail? I never knew you was married once. Yes, I was married for a very short period of time, not even a year actually. But I met somebody that believed the same things as me. We were flat earthers. We were both, Torah followers and really big into that. And we rushed into a relationship, rushed into a marriage, and yeah, well, obviously it didn't work out. Yeah, many different reasons, but we're on good terms now. Actually, he's trying to come out and say hi to me and see where I'm living and all this stuff. So we'll see how that meeting goes. But yeah, in the future, I definitely will not be signing any government papers. I do want to get married someday or hand fasted like pagans do, but not asking the government for permission to marry someone. That's really stupid. Yeah, Mr. J, and I don't really have necessarily any other details to say about it, other than that. Emerson Stein says, are people still pushing blood over intent? I wonder if they ever made it to the North Pole. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know, because weren't they trying to like escape the realm through the North Pole? So if they did make it, then we wouldn't know, because well, I guess we would know that they were missing, but really, really silly. I don't know if they're still pushing it, but at least one of the blood over intent clowns like still tries to harass me every now and then. So yeah, they're definitely off their rockers and demon possessed. So I would avoid them as much as possible if we can. Abdullah says the Quran says that we are born free of sin. Well, as far as a baby goes, I do think that babies are born a blank slate and aren't guilty of anything. And yeah, I would agree with that. That being said, the baby in their physical form is free of sin, but since the soul is reincarnating, is the soul free of sin? It's a complex question. I'm not really sure. I have to think about that. It's so bad. Abdul says you remind me of Olivia Wilde. Well, I don't really like to be compared to celebrities because they're all train wrecks and inverts. Oh gosh. It's got some really manly facial features. So please go ahead and look at a picture of me next to the picture of Olivia Wilde and nitpick at the biomarkers, because this guy's ugly face. Anyways. Jarpar says, have you looked into Kundalini? Yes, I have. I have a basic, understanding and grasp of it, but I definitely would not say that I'm an expert in it. So feel free to share anything, that you want to in the comment section about it. Abdullah says, everyone share your thoughts about some Orthodox Jews slaughtering chickens yearly to relieve them of sins. Yes. Not just the chickens, but also the lamb and all the other animals too. But hopefully, Abdullah, you are vegan. if you are concerned about animal sacrifices, because they are evil all around, whether it is for religious purposes or for a meal. Abdullah says, like some pagans do. Yes, pagan meaning I don't belong to any of the world's main religions. And I don't want to belong to any of the world's main religions because they've all been corrupted over time. They would all consider me a pagan or a heathen or, evil in their practices. Abdullah's retracting his messages. Don't know what's happening. Abdullah says that supposedly even astral projecting over Antarctica is being stopped by them. Interesting. I would not know. Our thoughts about Roe versus Wade. Well, I am against abortion. I always have been against abortion, even in cases of rape and ectopic pregnancy. But the government really has no business telling anybody what to do in any situation because they are satanic baby eating clowns themselves, right? So who are they to tell us what to do? Exar says a flat earth is really the collapse of the matrix. Yes, it definitely is completely paradigm changing, especially for atheists who believe that they are evil pond scum living on a meaningless giant spinning ball and all of that. SJN says, have you seen Kendrick Lamar in P5? He actually mocked Jesus in the music video. Check it out if you haven't seen it. The song is fire, though. All right. I can't really say I am a fan of Kendrick Lamar, but yeah, they are a little bit. They're getting even more blatant with their Satanism, while like a lot of them say that Satan isn't real. To see, how stupid humans are, basically. Just another joke. Same says, I personally think babies are blank slates, but certainly souls are born into tougher situations as part of the purification process to find the soul's purpose. Yeah, I do think that we also consent to coming into this world and ultimately the situation that we are born into, like those that choose to be born into, these families that run our world, and they're born into families that will invert them and abuse them from birth so that they can be in these positions of power and influence. And just like the Westworld show where you're going into the game and you can choose a black hat or a white hat, like we choose ultimately if we're going to come in here and play for Team Satan or come in as a real human. And the real way to tell that is by transvestigation, and that's one of the reasons why I'm constantly banging on about it. And that's, like I said before, my number one, like, if you can't pass investigation, then you can't with me. I'm not sure what's happening in the chat here. Emerson says, what do you think is past the ice wall? Could Admiral Byrd have been telling the truth even if he was a Mason? It's definitely hard to tell. I don't even really subscribe to a map or model of what we are able to freely travel because I don't trust anybody. So it's like, if I were to accept a map, I'd have to trust somebody's word for it. The Book of Enoch, I think, talks about humans only being like in like a really small northern portion of the earth in general, and it being a lot bigger. So I'm not sure. It'll be it'll be fun to be able to travel freely during the golden age, but as far as traveling freely goes, I'm not really sure how freely our travel will be. Personally, I'm not like pushing for underground exploration, like to see where the Nakash and all this. Like, I don't have any desire to go down there. I think humans belong on the surface, and we should just, let the let the Nakash do their thing down there while we do our thing on the surface. Um, so I'm not really sure about traveling underground, um, or traveling outside of the ice wall to the extent of the earth. The golden age always starts, in one spot here at Mount Shasta and expands over time. So who knows how large the territory will get over the time that we have. Um, we'll talk about the golden age in just a little bit more in just a little bit. Kendrick, Kendrick Lamar sucks. Coy Leary, no idea who that is. No, Kyle, I have not listened to. Did we listen to that song while we were together for your birthday? I have not listened to it, no. YouTube doesn't like to work at my house. They'll load the ads perfectly fine, but when it comes to the actual video that I'm trying to load, it's like doesn't ever start playing. It's really frustrating. So, Abdullah says that there's a greenery over there. Over where? Zombified. I've seen some videos of people using Google Maps and like zooming in on places in Antarctica and other places that are supposed to be freezing, and showing tropical areas. There are even mainstream sources. Let me see here. Antarctica. Antarctica was actually tropical and green. So there's a few videos on YouTube that you can just type in Antarctica tropical forest, and obviously you have to use your discernment about it. But it'd be interesting if the map was like a square map, and on the top there was the Arctic, the cold, and then on the bottom the Antarctic or the anti-Arctic, the hot. These two, different sides on a square Earth. I don't know. I don't subscribe to any map or model until we can travel freely. But I'm really open to obviously the square Earth because the Bible talks about the four corners of the Earth. The Enoch portals is really cool to me, but I'm not really sold on anything besides for flat Earth until we can travel for ourselves because, like I said, I don't trust anybody. We live in a clown world. Pretty much everything that we've ever been taught since we were children has been a complete inversion of the truth. And yeah, to create this worldwide web of deceptions, a worldwide web of deceivers has been used. These inverts, and yeah, invert disclosure already happening. I think I'm going to get into the main topic of my discussion today because I'm going to have to go get off here a little bit after noon. So that's why I wanted to start early today to be able to catch up with you guys, and chat. Let me see. Princess, I don't even like to call these things royal titles. Diane of Wales looks like Undine. I don't know how you say her name. Let's see. It looks to me like they could be brothers. It doesn't look like they're the same person, but I would definitely be willing to look into it a little bit more because it kind of looks like Megyn Kelly. I think that's the Fox News anchor person. Um, yeah, I think these are two different people, but they do, have lookalikes. They use artificial insemination and different artificial means of impregnating their inwards. So having multiples is definitely a thing. And yeah, they try to keep the power in the family and all of that stuff. So I don't believe that one character plays multiple roles often. It does happen every once in a while, but there are like a lot of psyops that are trying to convince us that like everybody is everybody else when that's not the case. Um, the most common occurrence is that, Madonna is being played by multiple different puppets, different actors. Um, yeah. So I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But like I said, I'm not convinced that they're the same person. When you're trying to determine that, you want to look at somebody's like their teeth, their eyes, their ears, these certain biomarkers that would be different if they're not the same entity. Abdullah says, everyone share your thoughts about the true end times prophecies. They can easily make prophecies come true when they're the ones that are, setting the prophecy and then ruling in power until the prophecy comes to pass. So I'll just say that about that. But I do think that there have been over time, different prophets, prophetesses sent to warn people about troubled times ahead. High Aspect 670. I decided to go live early today because I have to leave shortly after noon, so I wanted to be able to hang out for some good chunk of time with you guys. Abdul says we are on a different timeline post the CERN portal opening. Chick-fil-A has a different spelling. Let's see. I remember it only being CHIC, Chick-fil-A, but I don't know when it changed. I don't eat Chick-fil-A. I know that they're doing a different Mandela effect magical rituals to try to change things, but I'm not really sure that means that we're in a different timeline. Like, I wouldn't particularly call that a different timeline. If I was saying that we're in a different timeline, it would be like maybe the one timeline that we're currently in. They're going to have, Project Bluebeam, alien invasion, but maybe humans wake up to flat Earth. Then they would change their mind and not do the alien invasion. That would put us into a different timeline. But I don't know. I guess it could be used loosely. I'm not sure. Emerson says, I don't know, the blood over 10 people call the Borealis Sophia and worship it, saying it's where holographic reality stems from. As far as the Aurora Borealis, I think I've heard, allegations of like a plasma type lighting field. I'll have to channel more on that. But as far as it being Sophia, all physical matter is Sophia. So like you could say that is her, and she is the one that creates all physical reality, that empowers all of this. I like that, like centralized point at the North Pole being right underneath the throne of God with the star, and then the idea of Sophia's soul being deep underneath of us. Pretty cool. Dr. Foster Cluck says Megyn Kelly is supposedly both Nicole and Denise Simpson, both of them at the same time. Let's see if we can find a picture of them, Nicole and Denise Simpson. Let's see if we can find a picture of them in the same room together, first of all. I mean, a lot of these people I wouldn't even be able to pick out of a crowd. I have no idea. I'll have to look into this more when I have more time. Oh my gosh, that is a really, really hideous picture. Really, really ugly picture. Okay, let me see if I can send this to you. Okay. Everyone, do you think that they are cloning celebrities? Yes, I do think that they are using cloning. And my thoughts about Halloween, I support the original meaning of Halloween, All Hallows Eve, and the celebration of the end of the harvest and all that stuff. But I do not celebrate the commercialization of any holidays or what they have come to mean over time. So I want to move it towards talking more about the golden age and not getting distracted by Abdullah's questions so much. I will touch back with you kind of after I talk about the golden age a little bit. So 3 necessary things for a golden age. Humans need to know the truth of our reality, not just where we are, but what we are and why we are here. All of these different facets, like we are coming out of this dark age of ignorance and deception and coming into a golden age of truth and knowledge. And obviously humans have to know the truth to be able to be that, right? Humans, number 2, they have to have what they need. We have to have prosperity, right? We shouldn't have people going without. We shouldn't have people starving and freezing on the streets. Like, that's not a golden age. And the third one is that innocents are protected, whether they are human innocence or animal innocence. That means that everybody has to be vegan. I gotta find my plug so that my phone doesn't die. Oh no, here you go. So those 3 things are a must. Knowing the truth, having prosperity, and innocence being protected. And ultimately, my drive in even wanting to create a golden age is creating a world that is safe for children. Like, this world is not safe for any babies that I want to have. I don't want a child to be growing up with CPS lurking around the corner waiting to take them from me because I won't jab them, because I won't feed them the flesh of the innocent, because I won't send them off to school to be indoctrinated with lies, to be groomed with LGBTQ PBR programming, to be, raised by a complete stranger, right? Like, this is not a safe place for children. And ultimately, that is my drive for the golden age, is to make a safe place to have a baby. Like, I want to be a mom. So, yeah. There are lots of differences between the golden age and the new world order. People try to lump them together because they say, oh, well, you're supporting veganism, so it must be the same thing as them because they're supporting veganism. Well, the 2 forms of veganism that we support, that we promote, are completely different. And the reason that they're promoting veganism is only to control and corrupt humans. Like, they don't really want us to go vegan. Like, they would prefer if we just keep eating animals so that they have karmic justification to keep eating us. But they try to control both sides of every argument. So of course they're going to try to control the vegan side as well. They are giving us all of these processed vegan junk foods and, promoting an unhealthy version of veganism as well. At the same time, promoting, the carnivore diet and all of that. So they're not really actually truly vegan, whereas the golden age that I'm promoting has to be vegan. Like, the golden age does not come without veganism, because you can't have innocent protected while the innocents are being eaten. It's just, they're contradicting things. One of the huge differences between the golden age and the new world order is that the new world order is being put on by people, by entities that are anti-human, that don't like humans, that want to crush humans down. And the golden age is pro-human, where humans are actually free, where, this 9-to-5 lifestyle that humans are living, which, if it kind of don't even like to say it's a 9-to-5 if you're lucky, because how many people are working 2 jobs to try to make ends meet? Like, you have to do all of this stuff to... My phone just died as it's plugged in. That's ridiculous. All of this hustle and bustle, and you never have any time to actually take a second to think of why your soul came here, or what the purpose of life is, and actually do it, right? Like, you can't just drop your job and do what your soul came here to do in this world that we live in. And the new world order is even worse in that direction. The golden age is the opposite, where you don't have to worry about making ends meet. You are free to live whatever life you want, whether you are really inspired and you want to own your own business or build things, or like make art or whatever, or on the other side, if you want to lay in bed and have fun making babies and all of that stuff, lounge around and be lazy, like, that's an option too. Like, the golden age is a time where you can do what you want. You're not expected to give back. You're not expected to pay taxes. Like, taxation is theft. I don't believe in taxes. And in the new world order, like, they tax everything. You own nothing, and they say you own nothing and you're happy. Well, you own nothing and you're not happy. Like, that's their new world order. It's the complete opposite in the golden age, where you can own things. Like, no one can take things from you in the golden age. And you go to the store in the golden age and you can take what you need for free. In the new world order, you can go and, hopefully, if your credit score, your social score is high enough, they might let you buy it. Hopefully they're not tallying up every single thing that you have so that you can pay them back, right? It's always about what you owe them and being a slave. That's the new world order. There are other differences, like, in the schooling arena, where the powers that be don't plan on changing their curriculum to be pro-human. They are going to continue with the programming, the enslavement of humanity, starting with your children, right? They lie to them and then they crush them down, get them completely despondent and pretty much hating life by the time they even graduate. It's not designed to foster the child's natural desire to learn and to grow. In the golden age, that's going to be different. Like, I am really into homeschooling. I will promote that above everything. But having schools that are teaching children the truth, that are designed to foster the children's desire to learn. If this child is good in math, we're not going to force him to try to be good at art. Like, that's just, it's not a cookie cutter type thing that schools nowadays are. It talked about the schooling, healthcare, starting from even a woman that's pregnant, completely natural healthcare in the golden age and completely free. Like, I think the thing should be free, that we shouldn't have to worry about making ends meet, and not like thinking of having a baby and then having like thousands and thousands of dollars in bills because you decided to go to the hospital to have the child. Like, from the child's born to the time that they die, healthcare should be natural. It should be holistic. It shouldn't just be a physical thing. Like, when you get sick, it's not just because of a physical thing. There are spiritual reasons why as well. There are demonic, negative forces that are associated with these things as well. It's not just cut and dry like they have made it, especially in the standard, American medical system, especially separating, like dentistry and other, separating all of the different, digestive doctor or a dentist, or, separating them all. That's just not how it should be. Like, the doctor should be looking at your teeth and all the rest of your body to determine what's going on with you, because your teeth are a really big, like, proponent of this. They can tell a lot about your health. So, yeah. A lot of the things that have been inverted can just be reverted to what they should be and go into the golden age. Like, the idea of having police officers, I am for that, but I am for them being held accountable. I am for them enforcing laws that are actually just, not like busting down your door because you're growing a plant. Like, actual serving the community and wanting to make the community a good place to live. A child protective services that actually does what they can to protect children. Like, if a family is, if you have like addicts or something, then the CPS can go in and say, what can we do to help fix your house and get it in order and help you stop being an addict, so that the child can be with their parents and the situation can be fixed as it is. Like, not snatching children, not being paid to steal children from their parents like it is now. Like, things really need to change. The fast food, pretty much everything that you love can be made in a vegan version. So we can just make, all these places vegan, and they can go into the golden age with us. There's no reason that we should take steps back in time and have less technology, less development than we already do. Like, we want more. We want more robots serving us food and taking over, because the golden age for me is being able to do what I enjoy doing and not having to, worry about cooking and cleaning and, the things that I don't want to do. I just want to enjoy life and raise babies and live and yeah. Abdullah, I don't believe that Halloween is satanic, but I do believe that it has become satanic, especially with, the mainstream status quo is like girls dress up like whores and go out and like, get trashed and sleep around, and like, they're not promoting the whole concept of the veil being like thinner. And if you dress up as all of these monsters, that's kind of like the energy that you're trying to manifest, rather than if everybody was to go and dress up like as an angel, that would be a completely different energy that's being manifested. But the scary stuff, the evil stuff, is what is promoted and made safe, I don't know, someone wrote safely in the chat, made popular for a reason. Sage says Halloween is nightmare fuel for Christian people. I love Halloween. Yes. I am not particularly either way. I like the holidays for what they are. Yeah. Kyle said earlier that Admiral Byrd was a Freemason. I'm not really I don't really demonize Freemasons. Like the mainstream truther narrative kind of is like, oh, that person's a Freemason. Like, invert or not is really what is the nail in the coffin for me. I know that Freemasons have been infiltrated and corrupted, but not all inverts are Freemasons, and not all Freemasons are inverts. Not all Masons even know at all what's happening at the top of their, their brotherhood. And yeah, I don't like things being demonized. Like I have a special desire to like grab onto things that have been demonized and like let's find the original meaning of these things and like see what cherish what the heart of these things are, rather than especially mainstream Christianity just like demonize everything. I don't know. Kyle said fast food in general is a chemical crap storm. Yes, I agree. There's a reason that they can give it to us so cheaply, right? Like they make it really cheaply. And speaking of, what just popped into my mind is the CAFOs. If you travel south on I-5 towards, between Sacramento and LA, maybe, there are a lot of CAFOs. Like I actually texted myself a note to stop at this CAFO on the way back, and unfortunately I missed the exit. But there was another CAFO. I swear it was the biggest CAFO I've ever seen in my life. Just like so many cows in one little plot of land. I can't even explain to you and express to you how heartbreaking it is. Like the next time that I travel down there, I'm definitely going to make it like I want to visit a CAFO, or I want to visit a sanctuary, so I can actually get to see some cows in a sanctuary and hopefully get to pet them and like be friends with them. Like, I'm super stoked about that. I love cows. Anyways, knowing where your food actually comes from, I think a lot of people would go vegan really quickly if they actually saw the horrors of what they're paying for. Bob says, yep, Admiral Byrd was a Freemason and sworn to secrecy about his discoveries at Antarctica. He could not hold his tongue around friends and family, so was terminated with extreme prejudice. Okay. I tend to not believe the official narrative about anything. Yeah, I mean, because even that narrative, it kind of like makes you think that they're a hero, and like it just paints them in a light. Like I don't want to hold anybody up on a pedestal that doesn't deserve it. So I don't know. It's hard to believe any of these stories. El Basoso says reptilians leading the world. Is this a psyop? Well, they are hybrids. Whether they are hybrids of reptiles or hybrids of like snakes, like Nakash, I think it would probably just depend on each individual one, but they're not fully human. That is true. And they're also inverted, so they're not the sex that they portray themselves as. Are other species out there? Yes. Just like I was saying, reptilians are a huge group that include, like the reptiles that we have today, and even dragons. Like a dragon would be a reptilian. But Nakash, like snakes. There are Jinn, like the beings of smokeless fire. I think there are a lot of species out there that we aren't told about. Mythological creatures that we're told aren't real, that definitely are. So, Dr. Foster Cluck says, is there a place for insects in our diet? Well, I'm a vegan, so I'm not going to be eating any bugs or any dead things or anything. Humans aren't meant to be eating bugs, and the powers that be promoting these bug eating, disgusting, degrading, turn humans into clowns. It's just really, really disgusting. Oh crap. Okay, I'm actually going to have to cut this short. I guess I'm glad that I jumped onto the to this early. Okay. yeah, eating insects is disgusting. So like I said, I'm gonna have to hop off here. I really appreciate getting to come on with you guys and having a live chat. I will definitely plan on being here next week, um, same time, but probably at noon again. I'll let you know. Um, Atreya says, I think we should go back to village communities where police would become obsolete. Well, people are definitely welcome to get into communities, but as far as the golden age goes, we're going to have, police and laws that are going to be enforced because that's how you keep order. Um, yeah. What if the robots rebel? The robots that I'm talking about are going to have core programming to serve humanity. So it really all depends on what they are, who is making them, essentially. So I will make sure that I have people that I trust making them. If you make robots, hit me up. Just a message. Okay. Brian says we have eating insects for thousands of years. Yeah, well, people have also been eating animals for a long time, and many of us have stopped because it's disgusting and gross. Abdullah says, "Are you fully human?" To be honest, I don't know. I've never had my DNA tested. I don't even know what blood type I am. I would like to get my stuff tested. I would like to have like a full, like genomic sequence done to see everything about me. But until I have, some friends with their own genetics labs that I can trust, I'm just gonna stick with knowing knowing very little because I don't trust anybody with my DNA. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions for next week, feel free to comment them below. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. Make sure that you stay tuned on Facebook and keep up with me there. All right. May God and the Goddess bless you.